don't give up on them as the year goes on. In January, where everyone's really on it, you know, I'm going to change my life, this year's going to be the best year. And then once February comes, this gets put away. Hey everyone, I'm casual today. I'm dressed down because I'm cleaning, but I wanted to pop on here to chat to you about something that I actually did yesterday, which was that I went through my goals, strategies, planning, and the things that I want to achieve in 2022. And I normally do this at the end of each year anyway, but 2022 is more poignant because we're in the middle of a pandemic still, and ever since 2020 was horrific, I think, for everyone, but 2021 was marginally better, and I'm determined to make 2022, despite the fact there's a pandemic, even better. So I thought I would share with you, for any of you who are feeling a bit lost, or you're feeling a bit bored in life, or there's things you want to achieve but you don't know how to achieve them, or you're just at this point at the end of the year where you're thinking, yeah, I want to make a change next year but I don't know what, then hopefully some of the tips that work for me every single year will work for you. The first thing to do is to plan. Now, I have got a book that was actually sent to me by one of you, and in this book, and in all of the books that I have, at the end of every year, and I even have a vision board for this that I'm going to explain to you about in a second, but at the end of every year I write down what I want to achieve in the coming year. So the first thing to do is to plan out your goals. What is it that you really would like out of 2022? And I always say to be really extravagant with those things. Don't think about anything in particular that you can't achieve it, because you'd be surprised. I always go big when I plan stuff. I plan all the small things, but also I plan ideals that are going to be quite hard to reach, and maybe I won't, but maybe I will. Also set out your strategy for how you're actually going to meet these goals. It's all very well saying, you know, I want to earn this much money, or I want to get myself a partner, or I want to sort out my health, but if you don't know how to get there, they end up just being empty goals that you can sometimes find quite difficult to actually make happen. So write down your goals, but also for each goal, write down just some ideas in your head, even if you're not 100% sure at this point. Write down some ideas that you think you can implement to actually make those things happen. So for example, if it's financial, there are things that you can do, whether it's work, getting a new job, if you're unemployed at the moment, really digging in next year to try and get yourself on the work ladder. Promotions, kind of, if you think you've been working really hard and you've taken on a lot of responsibility and you think you're deserving of a promotion, making that a target that you achieve. And I've spoken before on my personal tips on how I, in the past, have always got promotions. For any of you watching who are new, I don't actually do YouTube as a job. I have a business that I run with my husband, just like a small marketing agency. But before that, I've always worked in advertising agencies. And the way that I used to do it, and I know it's worked for some of you because you've written to me before and told me, but the thing that I always did was that I'd keep a note month by month of every single thing that I was doing on a monthly basis, whether it was new business or whether it was running a project and making like a really high amount of profit on it, whether it was retaining clients who were thinking about leaving for any reason. Collate them all into a PowerPoint presentation month by month, so a slide for every month, and then when it comes to your review, maybe at the end of the year, use that as a visual representation to demonstrate why it is that you're deserving of a promotion. Trust me, I think the main reason why it works, besides the fact that it makes it look like you're really organised and really on it, is a lot of the time we all forget, even yourself, you will forget what it is that you did in January when December comes round. So by creating a presentation, it's really good for your boss just to jog their memory, and it tends to work. And I even had it once where I did this presentation and it turned out there was no money that year to actually pay out in bonuses. But you know what? A couple of months later, when they did have some money, they ended up paying me a bonus. And they did it off the back of that presentation because they were impressed. So that's something that has always worked for me with presentations. If you are working somewhere where it's toxic, you're unhappy, doesn't matter what you do, how good you are, you're never going to get a promotion. Think about leaving. Even if the thought of leaving is scary, life is too short to work somewhere where the people are horrible and the culture's horrible. Now, with all of these things, don't just think them or write them in a book and then stuff the book away for the rest of the year. I personally create a vision board. So I have got a pin board that about the size of that picture back there, and in that pin board I write down and I type and then I print off key targets and I pin them to the pin board, and I might put a few notes underneath about how I think I'm going to get there, even visuals of like if you want to go to a certain place on holiday, even though in the pandemic it's kind of not really that easy. But if there's some way that you want to go, print off a picture of it, stick it on your pin board. If there's a new car that you're after, print off a picture of it, stick it on your pin board. If you're looking to get into shape, find a picture of someone who epitomizes health and stick it on your pin board and use that as a focus, because trust me, if you write it all in a book in January and then you put the book away, trust me, you're going to forget what it is that you wrote in this, and then the chances of you succeeding aren't as great as if it's in your face and you know, right, have I done that yet? So for me, this strategy, it doesn't just work for money, work, employment. It also works when it comes to health if you want to get into shape. It also works in terms of your lifestyle if you want to move house, if you want to change area, if you're in a relationship that isn't happy, that isn't working for you, or even if you have relationships like friends where it's not working and it's toxic. This kind of thing can be a real focus for making you think, life's too short for this, I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to make a change, and it's going to fundamentally, I want to be happy. The other thing that is also really big for me is staying in your own lane. Sometimes when you look at other people, particularly on social media, people always put forward the best side of their life. No one's going to put up, I'm having a miserable time, my partner's cheated on me, I'm in loads of debt, look at the rags that I'm wearing. No one's going to put that up. Everyone posts up the best side of their life. And very often, not everything people post up is real. And it's very easy to look at social media, and I'm not even talking about bloggers or influencers, I'm talking about your friends. It's very easy to look at what other people have got, not know the background, think that person's got a new kitchen, how have they done that? Well, you don't know. It could be on credit, they could be in debt up to their ears, they might have inherited, but it might be debt. You know, there are so many things that go on under the radar, and you don't see those on social media. And when you look at and judge yourself against other people, if you're someone who has a tendency to get jealous, let's say, that feeling can actually pull you down. It doesn't actually affect the other person, it only affects you, in my opinion. So stay in your own lane, stay blinkered, don't look at other people. If you do look at other people, think, yeah, that's really nice for you, you've got the kitchen, and then move on. And focus on what you have and what you can achieve. Because I can tell you, I promise you, if you're on social media, they will also be looking at your life thinking, how have you done that? People do. So stay in your own lane, focus on you. Now, also in a pandemic, one thing that the pandemic's done is it's taken away a lot of our freedom and a lot of the things that we took for granted and used to be able to do before. And something that made it really difficult for me personally in 2020, and I know probably loads of you, is that because the world changed overnight, everything was affected. Like more so for David and I, it was work. Work was massively affected. All of the projects we were working on came to a standstill overnight. All of the clients that we work for, like in our day job, like everyone was just kind of worried about their job. And so achieving the goals that I'd set myself at the start of the year was completely unrealistic. I mean, a lot of the goals I had on my vision board, I pretty much chucked them out the window. I left them on there, but I knew that it was going to be difficult, and it was. Last year was easier, but one thing that we can all do, if your work's changed, if you're working from home, if it's had a strain on your relationship, whilst things aren't like they were in 2019, there are things we can actually do. In a pandemic, focus on the things that you can actually achieve. Forget the things that you could once have done, but times have changed. Focus on what you can actually do and turn off the news. I turned off the news at the beginning of 2021. I turned off the thing on my phone where it flashes up with some scary headline. I got rid of it because I realised it was just, and it was also having an effect on my life in general, because you know, when you surround yourself with bad news, it makes you feel a bit rubbish. Turn off the news. Don't look at your friends and judge yourself and compare yourself against them, because they will be doing the same thing to you. I promise you of that. Of the things you've written down, don't give up on them as the year goes on. In January, where everyone's really on it, you know, I'm going to change my life, this year's going to be the best year. And then once February comes, this gets put away, you've forgotten it, and you slip back into your old routine. That's why it's so good to have a vision board, because it's there, it's in your face. You need to be looking at this daily. You need to, even if you're not sat there reading it, it's good to have your plans and your strategies to hand on your desk or by your bed, and you just read them every so often and you think, have I achieved that yet? No, but I'm nearly there. What can I do to actually achieve it? You know, these types of videos for me, they are not popular at all. I know that a lot of you watch for the shopping and the fashion, but honestly, these are my favourite videos to do. And the kind of self-help kind of things, I don't know, it just works for me personally in my life. And it's helped me. I really do put this down to, fortunately, where I am today, because I've used this technique since I got my first proper job, realistically, in terms of climbing up the ladder, in terms of financials, in terms of paying off debt. And so for any of you looking to improve next year for yourself, if I can share that with you, and I know it sounds like, how has that worked? Well, it has. And if I can share this with you and tell you that it does work, then hopefully you will give it a try and it works for you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.